Welcome back to the Bookkeeper's Library. My name is Candy, and today there's been an update, or at least I got an email about an update for YouTube. Let's take a look at this. So apparently they're applying an auto dubbing feature to YouTube, which is great. If I'm being honest, there's a lot of text here, and to those of you who've been here before, you know I'm a terrible reader. I'm pretty good, but for the most part, I'm bad. What, I'm a third grader reader apparently. Anyway, there's an auto dubbing feature being implemented on YouTube, which I think has some pros and cons to it. If I'm being honest, Chad. On one hand, you get to watch some of your favorite content creators, right, from other parts of the world. There's many times I've watched a Japanese content creator, but couldn't understand a single thing that was happening or being said, right? So I think that would be pretty cool. I would assume there's going to be dubbed inside some AI kind of voice. Who knows? We haven't seen it yet, or at least I wouldn't even necessarily call this new, but at least we got the email for it that it was going to be being implemented. I probably won't be doing it because when it comes to here's a con to it. When it comes to the mixing of my audio, I am very particular about how it sounds. If it doesn't sound right, I'm throwing it out. I've done it many times. But on the other hand, it is like really nice to be able to make content that is automatically adapted for everyone to be able to hear and understand, right? On the flip side to that, however, aside from the audio probably sounding weird, right? On the flip side is the fact that YouTube is doing it. I personally have no problem with it, but I can see there being a problem. It kind of has something to do with you don't want to give YouTube your ID. You don't want YouTube having that information, right? Because you don't know what they're going to do with it. When it comes to uploading content to YouTube, we trust that they, store it properly, right? And use it for, running ads and this and that. However, people don't want YouTube, at least I don't. I wouldn't want YouTube using something that I quote unquote trusted them with, and that being my voice or my likeness, right? Seems problematic to me. When they say stuff like, hey, we're going to be auto dubbing your stuff, that's cool, but on the other side of that coin, it's like, you guys are inching closer and closer towards some nonsense that people don't want anything to do with. That's a cool feature, but YouTube can't be trusted for whatever reason, right? At least this is what I hear. I personally don't think it's good to trust anybody, right? You can trust yourself, right? Or if you're religious, you can trust God. But it's a lot of people who are just want to stab you in the back. Anyway, YouTube doesn't have a great track record, chat. That's what I'm saying. They seem to be making a lot of people upset about just everything in general. So what they're going to be dubbing, you can go for, they're dubbing into English from all these different languages, Dutch, French, and German, and Hindi, right? But dubbing from English, you only get these. I'm not really sure how the algorithm works on that, why they can do that from from English to these languages. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, chat. I'm not a chiropractor, so I couldn't really tell you why these things are the way they are. You can turn off the feature, so I'm assuming so it doesn't mess up your audio, because I know it would mess up my audio. When I record multiple different layers, right? Even when I have other people in the chat, I make sure everyone has their own layer, so I can mix it later. Layers. I should get some chips later. But you also have the ability to review, right, chat? To review if it's going to sound weird or how it sounds, or I'm assuming, redub it. It's pretty much like how it automatically adds subtitles to your stuff, but this time they're doing more, automatically adding dub to it. So it's pretty much, if it's a step to some nefarious purposes that a lot of people, just immediately assume will be, it's a tiny step from what YouTube already has implemented. So it's like that. It's like, hey, YouTube, you're doing something. I don't know what it is, but you're doing something. Stop moving. And YouTube's like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just, inching to the right. Like, yeah, but don't inch to the right. All right, you stay where you are. In fact, put some new shoes on because you're bugging everybody. Crocs? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You can wear Crocs if you want, chat. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. I've seen a few posts about it. Actually, I haven't seen any posts about this. This is the first time I'm hearing about it from an email, right? And apparently, like, 7 months ago. I guess they're just fully implementing it now. Something to keep in mind, chat. Anyway, on with the rest of the show.